Hello, and welcome to Battle Slot number 6, the Big Cats versus Rats battle. We've got a Thurian domain with their lovely airships. They've been specifically set up for this battle to do formation stuff like that. Out of necessity, not just coolness. And on the rat side, we finally get to see their big, bad battleship. Aerial battleship. It's got a bit of an up-down bob to it, which is interesting because it could be considered evasion, but again, it's really hard to balance that or justify rules on it. And just a heads up, there will be a lot of cuts that are very obvious. That was not a cut, that was just me jumping from scene to scene. The cuts will be obvious. That is because I was going through the X menu to set AIs to off when they're on the ground. You'll be seeing a lot of grounded Aetherian domain crafts. So, there's that warning out the way. I've just removed them because it's a flash of a red screen that's there for 4 frames. It's kind of irritating to look at. Battleship broadsiding. So cool. Battleship drifting. So zaced. Cram's missing. News at 11. This big battleship, forgot what it's called, but the big log, down airship, he is specifically designed to soak up radar. Since he's so big, that is cool. It's just straight up cool. Yeah, the big log is designed to soak up radar target prio. So if you have any radar missiles, they're gonna go for the big guy. It's a very, very good strat, since you pretty much can have your tank be a proper tank. While these laser guys, they do their job of poking a CG, and boom, falls out the sky. If it falls at the sky, now it's cram target prio bait. You'll see stuff like that where it's like, that's when I cut it out. So yeah, you'll be seeing all the missiles go for the big log. From what I've been told during this battle, there are a few remote guided missiles, so they will be doing their own target prio stuff. And here's a little break to take a look at the map to see the spread of the forces. One fleet, one spawn stick for the Aetherian domain, no spawn stick for the rats. Yeah, it's already quite spread out. Makes it feel like a real battle. Man, the Omni laser looks so cool. It's not even a good laser, it's a tickle laser. But it looks so cool. I believe there has been some concerns about this battle being split into multiple battles. I personally am against that because I think this is cool. You have your entire fleet set up in formation, then they break apart to do their own micro battles. And whether or not it turns out the way you want it isn't really just something you can set up. Well, you can influence it a bit, but you can't really say, I need you here, 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 here. I mean, you could do that with BB, with a little bit of setup, actually a lot of work. But it feels more natural to have it as one battle instead of multiple. It also allows your fleets to synergize and do stuff that you really want them to do, as in target prio bait, specialized crafts, really cool ramming moment there. These crafts are tanks. If you split them in the battle, and it just so happened you separated the tanks from other things, it's like, you should have that be simulated in battle instead of saying, well, we're just going to only fight your tanks with their offensive crafts, and then your offensive crafts are going to be going against your glass cannons are going to be going against their stuff that smacks glass cannons. It's like, that doesn't really feel natural. So that's why this is one big battle. It's also simpler for me to set up, since I just spawn in everything on one side, everything on the other side. Yeah. Further side commentary while we wait for interesting things to happen. I think the cats technically had the most DPS in this fight, or the most consistent DPS. Those missiles are not to be ignored. They're just going against the craft that's designed to tank missiles and tank every single hit. So if that craft wasn't there, this fight would be much more of a different story. He is listing. He is about to fall over. Whoa. The big log. He's going to tip. He's going to tip. It's actually quite low. I think that's at 65%. We'll be right back. And we're back, right in time for him to fall over. Crunch. That took a good chunk of HP. That took a great chunk of HP. At this point, I'm going to refer to it as a log because it looks like a log. The log is still up and running. He still got his decoys running. Full bore, probably. Maybe half bore. He's also still alive, which means that he's still a gigantic radar signature. Which means all these crafts with their radar-guided missiles are shooting at him still. Even though he's very far out of range. I don't know how much of that could be considered cheese, how much of that I should ban, or how I should even enforce that, because that can happen on accident. That can also happen as just general craft design. I don't think you should be punished for designing your craft to do that. But yeah, this fight's gonna this fight is going to create a bunch of moments for discussion in future ruling. %57%. If I were to do any kind of fair ruling on downed airships, it would be on the basis of making fights go faster, in which if your airship is downed at, let's say 80% health, then I'm just going to hold Q, delete. The only problem is I'm going to have to keep track of the healths for each individual craft in some other list, which might simply mean pause the game, write it down, interrupt the battle. So it's a little bit more tedious than I want it to be, because that big log, he's at 57% HP. I'll have to remember that, write that down. All these other Ethereum domain grounded crafts, they're at various different HPs. I'll have to remember those. It's much simpler just to let them fight to the death and have the damage be. On top of which, if they are at 80% health and still firing, then that's DPS they could be doing to the other flying crafts. If they lose that DPS, then suddenly the other guys die quicker because there's less targets to shoot at. Like, at the end of the day, this is really just how much do we want to make target prio a non-issue. I think it's the most tedious and potentially frustrating part of the fleet battle setup designing, but I also think it's potentially the most rewarding. For instance, the rats set up their fleet to do this, to have this specific setup: tanks, disablers, raw pure tanks, and then a few DPS crafts. There's actually just tanks and offense. That's really all they have. And then Ethereum Domain has their airships of lots of missiles, which is offense, and just more offense. It's going to be a tough one for me to solve, but currently at the moment, unless things change, I'm leaning towards fleet play should be considered an aspect of TPD and should build accordingly for it. I don't think it's hard, I just think it's not really well discovered. Okay, so that's the end of the video. There's, I think, 30 seconds left, so at the end of this is going to be a showcase of the healths of the rat forces. Yeah. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next battle.